looking at new formats for storytelling, something where there is a format and experience that readers, in our case children, customers, can get used to and become familiar with, through which you can tell stories in lots of different ways. So we created this MeBooks format, essentially, which we now, there's a MeBooks app through which you can buy books from lots of different publishers. It's become its own little digital retail business, if you like. And the entire thing was the result of just a very simple twist on the experience to create a new format. And that would be my sort of parting gem would be, you know, when you're thinking about creating content, think about the format and the way that this could serve many different ways of storytelling, or lots of different storytellers. And that will lead you very naturally to a business model, either an existing one that you could work with, or an entirely new one that you might want to start or launch yourself.
We have released one app, which is this, which is our interactive version of Frankenstein. If you haven't seen it, you should download it right now, because I'm about to talk about it very quickly and I'm not going to show it to you. Frankenstein is essentially a book. This is a screenshot from it, so I'll give you a little hint if you haven't seen it. It's essentially a book in that it looks like a book, and you read it like a book, and it feels a bit like a book, and when you get to the end of it and you remember what you just did, you're going to remember something which was rather a lot like reading a book. The only difference is that as you read, you make choices. That's what these little fragments of paper down here are. Or to be more accurate, you choose what you'd like to say back to the story, and those statements that you make alter what you read next, and eventually shape and tone and colorise the narrative in a completely irrevocable way. So while you read, you partly and kind of inadvertently help to author what you're reading. Frankenstein, I think, is a really good example to consider if we're thinking about what is content in this modern, flim-flam digital age where nothing is tangible and nothing that you buy today will be around in 10 years' time, and it will all be gone, and you won't be able to pass any of it on to your children. Frankenstein's whole structure kind of embodies the quantum mechanical nature of content that I work with every day, and I think we all do, because in a very real way, nothing that you read in the Frankenstein app actually exists until you observe it.
Sort of things you're talking about today do get discussed, and out of those discussions come new ideas, and it's new ideas we all need. And Franja and I were talking earlier about the way publishing is developing. I love the title of the conference. This is not the industry it was, and it's changing very fast, and we're increasingly these days thinking of developing tools rather than products, and services rather than products. And of course print on paper is still very important to us, but we have to look in very new, innovative ways at the sorts of things we're doing. And the sorts of things you've been discussing today, I think, are absolutely mainstream to the way publishing companies will need to evolve. In some cases they won't be able to, and they'll go under. In other cases, big publishing companies like ours will have to devote large amounts of investment to what I would call disruptive technologies in the terms of our industries, to make sure that we can find a way to carry on our business in exciting and profitable ways.
And what I tend to do when I work with clients, and you'll see a very diverse kind of range, not just specifically with books, although I have worked with a lot of book companies, did a lot of work with The Bookseller on trends, and also worked with John Wiley and others, but really typically it goes across the board. So from kind of HSBC to the BBC, from AOL to MTV, because really the sort of people I'm talking about are the same people, really across all of those. So, you know, the same person who walks into a bookshop and buys a book or downloads a book onto their e-reader is the same sort of person who's going to buy a ticket for a film or buy some shoes. So really my role, as I say, is to understand how consumers are changing and what's likely for them to adopt, what roles they're going to adopt, what behaviours they're going to adopt, which technology they'll pick up and how they'll use it.
Well, that may happen. But at this moment in time, we're the same. We are both media owners. Me and IPC, we're the same. How many people here blog? How many people here tweet? How many people here are on Instagram? How many people are on Pinterest? You are all media owners. We are all the same. You have the opportunity to tell extraordinary stories, to build amazing communities, and make really, really powerful connections with people. There is no difference now between IPC Media and you. We're all the same. Okay, engagement. How do we do this? How do we do that then? I mean, this is what we all want to do. You know, it's very good to be able to kind of do that kind of data thing, and I've thinking about it myself. I've got this very elegant business idea about really managing people's data points, their KPIs, really getting instant access to every single measurement that ever matters to them. But the real value is well, how can you get those numbers up? Yeah, how can you actually increase engagement?
I found it so enjoyable and I guess so inspirational. The thing I most enjoyed about it was how well structured it was. We got to learn about making your own app, and then afterwards we saw the most advanced app with origami search, you know, and things like the next best thing and how they tied really well with where the publishing industry is going and what they can begin to do to be resurrected were ingenious, and I'm very thankful. As a writer, I had an incredible sense of, you know, that it's not doom and gloom, that everything's going to work out because there are innovative people like these guys working on our behalf. So I'm going to keep writing, and it's all thanks to you.
It's immense. Like, I'm almost like, I need to go back and do the course again. And just from working in the industry, you like realize like how fast it changes. I really like the interactive elements and the workshops because we went to how to make an app. It was great. And I really liked the panel discussion, how everyone did their presentation. And then there was the panel. I think when we did it, it was just questions. And then everyone discussed. But this made it a lot more interesting.
We had a great panel, actually. We had 4 people, all of whom had some really important things to say. All 4 very creative people. 4 people, I think, who were looking to the future. I mean, I go on a lot of panels, and often you'll have somebody who is quite stuck in the past. And I think what's interesting is all 4 people in their own different fields were excited by the future, were looking to the future, and were trying to find a way of taking what they had into the future in a way that would benefit their brand and their company. So that was exciting. And it was great to get some feedback from the audience. It was a lively audience. Again, I've presented some much more boring audiences. This was a very lively, excited audience.